Hey everybody, today we are debating whether or not Atheist Republic is a hate group, and we're starting right now. Everybody, glad to have you here as we start this exciting debate. It is controversial, no doubt about it, but I'm confident it's going to be a civil discussion. And it's true, people will disagree, but the beauty of the world is that we can disagree and we can still be friends right after, and even during. So, without any further ado, I just want to do a couple of house cleaning things before we get into the debate. And I am just excited to say the least. I think this is going to be a blast. I'm honored to have all these gentlemen here. And with that, we have an upcoming debate. So I just want to mention that Inspiring Philosophy, who's been, I'd say both of these gentlemen have actually been really supportive of the channel. Inspiring Philosophy as well as Tom Jump are going to come on and debate later this month. It's going to be a blast. You've seen both of them before, and we are thrilled to have both of them come. So with that, we also wanted a quick mention. We happen to have something new that we're going to try doing from now on. Basically, we just want to give a little bit of attention or exposure to a great charity out there. And this is one that everybody would agree with. It's called Be the Match. So Be the Match is a bone marrow donor registry where people can, basically, you sign up, they can send you these swabs, you swab the inside of your mouth, and after you swab the inside of your mouth, you send it back, and then they'll let you know if they find somebody who has, like, for example, leukemia, so like basically cancer of the blood, and they will let you know, hey, we found somebody, they cover all the expenses. And it's true, it's very physically painful if you do become a bone marrow donor, but it is going to save a life. So I would say well worth it. I've known a couple of people who have signed up and swabbed their cheek and sent it in, and they actually were called to donate not too long after. So just want to give them some exposure. That's, again, a nonpartisan. They're not a Christian or an atheist or other type of worldview organization. Everybody here would support them. I'm confident of that. Now, very excited to have these gentlemen here tonight. Take a deep breath. If you're like me, you're a little bit nervous. The last one went okay. Everybody survived. And at the end of it, I was like, okay, we all made it. So this actually, I'll let the debaters explain it, but this was inspired by the original controversial debate we had, which was whether or not atheism is a hate movement. And hey, to be fair, if we call ourselves a nonpartisan channel, if you want to come on and debate whether or not Christianity is a hate movement, I'll host it. Fair is fair. So we also want to mention, before I forget, I will put the link in the description. Non-Sect Show will be hosting an after show after this. And then also, if a Christian channel wants to host, in other words, like, we're happy to have both sides host, they can host, and just let me know, send me an email with your link, and we'll also give that a shout out. I wouldn't go at the same time as Non-Sect Show because they're a monstrous channel, and they, by the way, like, you're just probably not going to have quite as many people. So you might want to do it like right after Non-Sect Show does their after show.
We will have an after show. We will have an after show at the same time as the Non Sequitur show. We don't interact with those folks or like them at all. So if anybody wants to, they can come to the Max Dean Esme group channel, and we will have a live stream afterwards just to hang out and chill.
Gotcha. I just learned that now. And that is Red Pill Religion himself talking, and namely the left pill, or the left box in your pictures there in the monitor. So without any further ado, want to introduce everybody. They are all linked below in the description. And I want to highly encourage you, even if you don't agree, you can check them out. What's the harm in that? You can understand their point of view straight from them. So I highly encourage you to check out their channels. Red Pill Religion, going to introduce you first, going from left to right. And if you just want to share what you've been up to at your channel, happy to have you here. Thanks for coming on. And again, everybody, links are in the description below.
Hi there. Hey, you can call me Max. That's what I go by online. I do run Red Pill Religion. Red Pill Religion has for the last 3.5 years been running a program called Escaping Atheism. This comes out of actually traumatic experiences and traumatic run-ins I had with multiple members of the online atheist community, which I simply refuse to consider not a religious movement anymore, and I don't think anybody sane should. I myself am a former atheist who had, in looking at the rational, logical evidence, concluded that atheism made no sense, spent a few years looking at various religions, taking classes on comparative religion, getting to know religious people better, because after having been savaged and smeared by any number of members of the atheist and skeptic communities online, you'll still find stuff written from me about me more than 10 years ago on so-called skeptic sites saying I advocated teaching creationism in the schools, which is a lie. It came out of an argument I'd had with some of my fellow atheists at the time over strategy in dealing with creationism. My position had been backed up in Science magazine, but they smeared me forever. I still keep hearing it, lying that I supposedly deny AIDS exists and hate gays. And this was all still while I was an atheist. And I had begun to notice that there was anthropological and other scientific data suggesting that religiosity and human spirituality were normal and natural in humans and couldn't be gotten away from. I found a lot of science on that. If you wanted to look at some contemporary science on that, I can give multiple references on this. But we have good peer-reviewed science now showing that it's natural and normal for humans to be born with an innate sense of the spiritual. It develops usually in most children between the ages of 2 and 4 at about the same time as language development. Children, tested by research psychologists, can distinguish it easily from imaginary friends, monsters under the bed, monsters in the closet, Santa Claus. They know and can describe it without much prompting from their parents, even children raised in non-religious homes. It's been called the sensus divinatus for thousands of years by other religions.
I hate to cut you off. I just noticed that I think somebody went into full screen. Perhaps.
Yes, Dean.
We did. If you can if you can jump back.
Thank you so much. To do that, but okay. Yeah. Well, maybe I did something wrong.
So what I would say is,
we haven't finished.
For the sake of this debate, don't screen share. We can just mention the titles.
Yeah, we'll mention the titles, or I'll give book titles at the end. Okay. I'll give book titles at the end.
That works just as well.
Okay, thank you. And what we'll do is you can definitely use screen share. It's just that you got to give me a heads up, and then I'll switch into I'll kind of.
Don't worry about it then. We people are going to argue in good faith. You'll get the book titles when we're done. But I mean, Born Believers by Dr. Jared Barrett's certainly a good one.
Gotcha.
Further research over the years has shown me, in fact, one of the more interesting things about the atheist community since they've
don't get me wrong, it's more so about just sharing about your channel and not about the atheist community. You'll get to do that during your opening. I hate cutting
I thought this was my opening.
No, this is just to share about your channel. Sorry.
No, we're just doing it.
I very much apologize. The Red Pill Religion, we are excoriated and hated for being some of the most brutal critics of the atheist community on YouTube. Been called all kinds of names, been called all kinds of things. That came about because we viewed the atheist community as an avowed enemy, a declared enemy on their own grounds of religious people for a number of reasons. So we started out, and we still frequently are very harsh and unapologetic critics of atheist activism, especially in the online community. But we also explore the intersection of politics, art, politics, culture, and religion, because we don't believe any of those can be separated. We're critical of certain specific secular political ideologies, which, secular has morphed into meaning atheist ideologies. And, this is what we do. And we also try and provide a space, though, because we bring in atheists who are friendly, atheists who can see the points we make about about atheist activism and the serious problems with it. Decent atheists who've hung out with us any number of times and are still always welcome to if they want to talk about the issues or philosophy. We like science, we like technology, we like culture. We are, in fact, secular social critics. We've had people on our team that were pagans from day one, non-Christian deists, Buddhists, Hindus. One of we're a broad group. If you like talking about human spirituality, come on by, and philosophy and all that stuff.
You bet. Well, thank you so much. We're glad to have you here. And next we will go into Jim Majors sharing about what he's been up to. So glad to have you here. Glad to have you here as well, Jim. What have you been up to?
Thanks so much, James. Thanks for having me back and for facilitating this debate. Well, lately, we've been working really hard on Atheist Day. It's coming up March 23rd. It's going to be a worldwide event where atheists and atheist allies can stand up in unison and announce their atheism and profess it for those who cannot freely do so. And we are, as we always are, striving to normalize atheism and to remove the negative stigma that has been there for so long.
Gotcha.
And for those who want to check it out, you can go to atheistday.org. If you want to know more about Atheist Republic, you can go to atheistrepublic.com. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and I don't know, probably MySpace maybe. Yeah, that's it.
You bet. Well, glad you're here as well. And next, Deflating Atheism, first time here, glad to have you here. So what have you been up to at your channel?
Yes, I'm actually kind of a little down in the dumps because there has not been much activity on my channel for about the past month. I've had other personal projects I've been working on, but I'm going to get back into the swing of things. I started my channel, Deflating Atheism, about 3 years ago, and even then I felt like I was a little late to the party, but I was just kind of getting tired of atheists on the internet. It's like no one can say that they went to church in a Facebook comment or something without someone jumping in and talking about like invisible sky fairies or whatnot. So I was getting a little fed up with it. So I started Deflating Atheism. I don't have any pretense of coming at it with any sort of authority. I'm a guy with an opinion, and nor do I come at it from the angle of being a defender of the faith. I'm just expressing my opinion, especially when it comes to like the annoyances of what I see of movement atheism. And so I tackle atheism whether it comes from popular authors like Dawkins or Dennett or Sam Harris, or whether it comes through YouTube channels, social media, or pop culture or whatever. And I kind of tackle it. Sometimes it's a substantive argument. Sometimes it's just snarking, which I think is valuable too. And so there's their YouTube channel, and then there's the Facebook page, and there's also a very necessary Deflating Atheism Instagram page. But there is no Deflating Atheism Twitter because I don't feel like basically consuming my days with online debates.
Gotcha. Well, we're glad you're here. So the good thing is, I know, yeah, absolutely. And as mentioned, everybody's in the description. Forgive me, Ocean, I'm putting your link in right now, and I'm just a little bit frazzled. It's been a long day. Ocean,
gasp.
I am excited to have you here, Ocean. If you want to share what's been going on at your channel, I'm really glad to have Ocean here because this is maybe going to be a little bit, it's going to be perhaps wild tonight, but I think Ocean, my lovely co-moderator, will help keep everything ordered as well. So Ocean, glad to have you here. What have you been up to?
I'm just here to keep the peace, I guess. I'm mostly active on Twitter, and I have a YouTube channel that I've been uploading some debates that I've been involved with recently, and there are some more plans as well in the works. So, that's me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just here to help you out, Mod, and I appreciate the challenges with it. So let's jump into it, man.
You bet. And I can't help but say, Ocean's going to be here on Sunday. We are having you could say, fatal four-way discussion. And what that's going to be is we're going to have a Christian, a Satanist, no, for real, and a polytheist, Ocean, and we are also going to have an atheist. So we love to have diversity here. If you are new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button, whether you're Christian, atheist. We are glad you are here, and we appreciate new and different ideas. So with that, we are going to start the debate. Luckily, so keep things a little bit more peaceful as well, we have time sections at the start, just the start. So that'll be 10 minutes. Given that Red Pill Religion is taking the affirmative, they will be starting. And so each side gets 10 minutes. Because Red Pill and Deflating Atheism have teamed up as a duo, they will have their 10 minutes split. So they will each get roughly 5, depending on how they want to use it. Theoretically, If Red Pill wants to do 9 and Deflating Atheism does 1, like, that's fine too. But I am going to start the timer on your guys' first word. So with that, unless you guys have any questions or concerns, I will start the timer on Red Pill's first word.
Let me roll for a couple of minutes, deflating, and then if you want to start jumping in, you can, and I'll try and stop at 5 minutes, and then we'll see how we get from there. Okay? I'll start talking now. I already almost cheated, and part of my introduction started already, so I'll just mention it again. One of the main reasons I left atheism was being swarmed and bullied by my fellow atheists more than 10 years ago. And there's even stuff, because I used to be a very prominent blogger, and there's still stuff written me from 10, 15 years ago on the internet I can't get scrubbed, the online skeptic network put up on me, that just isn't true, like that I ever said it was a good idea to treat creationism in the schools. It's simply not so. And there's many such examples. And my anger with the atheist community spurred me to start asking whether there was something wrong with atheism, because there was something very cultish and very hateful about so much of what I was seeing in internet atheism more than 10 years ago at this point. And at some point I was so fed up with it. I as an atheist would take comparative religious classes and would talk to religious people now and then and get their perspective on things and make friends with them. But this new breed of online atheists seem to have nothing to do with any of that, and I was disgusted. Even though I used to call myself a bright in the Daniel Dennett tradition, I was disgusted, said, don't call me one of these anymore. These people are horrible on the internet. I don't think they represent real atheists like me, but I don't want to be called this anymore. They're disgusting. And I eventually concluded from my own research that perhaps I was being irrational. Like I mentioned, Dr. Barrett's research and the research of many other research psychologists show it's normal for children to develop a spiritual sense that they can, without prompting, tell the difference between like God and an imaginary friend. And this is normal in child development. And there is zero scientific justification for claiming it's delusional or imaginary. None. In fact, it might be an act of child abuse to tell that child that impulse is somehow delusional. If you look at a book by Paul C. Vitz called Faith of the Fatherless, another research psychologist who's taken a very in-depth look at the internet, at the atheist community, based on surveys, by the way, of people who join atheist groups, as well as other demographic data, shows clearly that the vast majority of atheists are male and have broken father relationships and broken family relationships, usually come from broken homes. That's more than 90%. There's 10% that it isn't so, but there you go. This also led me to the fact that for decades I had read extensively on the subject of genocide, and including reading genocide by non-religious secular groups towards religious people. A very good book to look into, one of the two books I would most recommend out of this stream that anyone read would be Storming the Heavens, The Soviet League of the Militant Godless by Daniel Paris. You can get it off of Amazon. It's a very good history on a group called the League of the Militant Godless that ran under Stalin. What is so fascinating is that what they did was that they recruited fatherless young men from poor backgrounds and then trained them to become atheists by teaching them that religion is delusion, that science and progress have been held back for years by Dark Ages primitive religious superstition, that religion was the enemy and in many ways probably the cause of most of their issues. And they would send these young men across the Russian countryside to terrorize, sometimes torch churches, rape or kill priests, nuns, and so on, all in the name of atheism, because it is a lie to say it was just in the name of communism. It was very specifically in the name of atheism. Can't get an atheist anywhere to acknowledge that this even happened. And it was an integral part of the genocide of more than 10 million Christians and quite a number of Orthodox Jews under the Soviet Union. Still can't get an atheist to recognize this, or that the specifically atheist reasons given for multiple pogroms, including ones ongoing today where Christians, Falun Gong, Muslims, and still some Buddhists are being viciously, brutally persecuted for the specific atheist reason that we have to get rid of primitive religious superstition, that we no longer need that. We have to move forward and get away from the Dark Ages. We have to use science and progress, and they murder to accomplish it. They also take people's children away or put the children in re-education camps and make it illegal for parents to teach their children about their religion, all of which is vile and horrifying. And this goes on constantly has been going on for over a century in the name of atheism, not communism. Another book to look at is one called The New Atheist Denial of History by Professor Borden W. Painter Jr. I've interviewed him. This man goes into detail of the hate propaganda methods used by Christopher Hitchens, Richard Dawkins, and Sam Harris, with a shellacking for Richard Carrier, Michael Shermer, Steven Pinker, and others, showing how all of these have used propagandistic scholarship methods to bash religion, not just Christians, but religion in general, in ways very similar to the things anti-Jewish and anti-Christian propaganda from Goebbels under Hitler, as well as under Stalin from Russia. The new atheist rhetoric frequently matches League of the Militant Godless rhetoric. In fact, some of it is taken straight out of League of the Godless material, as Borden W. Painter documents in his own book. Another one to look at is C.J. Werleman, still an atheist last I checked. I haven't chatted with him in a while, called The New Atheist Threat. I wouldn't be surprised if the guys here knew CJ, maybe not, but he's been on the Atheist Speaker Tour for many years, or used to be, documenting just terrible activities from members of the New Atheists. Now, the fact of the matter is, it's ridiculous to assert that people flocking a logo, rocking multiple logos, having identifiable talking points, using rhetoric and reasoning that can easily be sourced to various groups like American Atheists, which was originally a communist Stalinist front group. That's not a secret, and that's not a lie, and it's not a slander. A lot of the materials the New Atheists and online atheists use can be shown to be recycled materials from the League of the Militant Godless that killed so many people, in the name of atheism, not in the name of Joseph Stalin or communism, but specifically in the name of atheism. If I could get one atheist anywhere to admit that atheists murder in the name of atheists, I'd consider this a wonderful show. Now, I'm almost done, but I'm going to mention that, we've sent stuff to Atheist Republic multiple times to get no response, no response, no response. We have a new video, recycled video up on Red Pill Religion channel on YouTube right now.
3 minutes left.
One example called, Sutherland, Texas church shooting and atheism's unmentionable violence problem. Of course, we got no response or just mocking from anybody in the atheist community we sent to. No response on the Twitter account, of course, and that's been fairly typical. On the whole, when I go through Atheist Republic, I wanted to get some screenshots from Atheist Republic to bring to this show, but I realized the thought of doing it made me vomit. So because I've looked enough. So I asked one of our good friends, Mr. Brass. Thanks, Mr. Brass. I love you. He's an apostate ex-Christian who is now a deist who doesn't want anything to do with atheists because of so much poison he sees on the Atheist Republic website. He grabbed me a few. I'll be free to share. Please do not dismiss them as anecdotes. These are typical and common I can go through every day. Like, here's one gentleman saying, I would actually love a law that makes it so everyone has to either abandon their religion or die. Here's another one. I would fight to take their rights away. In so many fucking backwards religious
2
countries.
minutes. And Dean, I need you to watch your language, please. And you got 2 minutes.
Oh, I'm reading that. Okay, I'm reading. I'm sorry. On so many effing backwards religious country, atheists are killed for not believing in these fairy tales. I would actually love a law that makes it so everyone has to either abandon their religion or die. The only way to make people rational human beings is to eradicate religion from this world. And by the way, that commenter should know that tens of millions of people have been murdered in the last century, including in the last few years, for those explicit reason. That man's a hater and a bigot. Then we can go through the usual memes that we see over and over again. Here's one we pulled off. I can't send it to you, but there's another, meme after meme after meme mentioning the Christian Dark Ages, even though any reasonable historian can tell you there was no Christian Dark Ages and that is a myth.
1 minute left.
At some point, enough of you people, you need to stand and answer for your bad actors and answer for the science that challenges many of your assertions, and answer, I would say, for the fact that it is abusive to tell people they are irrational to believe something just because it doesn't make sense to you. And we have nothing to prove to you from our rational conclusions of the evidence that makes sense to us. That's all I would have to say.
You bet. Rob, you've got 35 seconds if you'd like to use them.
I very humbly submit because there were no like ground rules that were laid out. So could we just?
I was gonna say if you want to take like 5 minutes or whatever, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I wanted to just kind of get that down pretty pat as well, because if we're gonna have kind of a 2-on-1, we do want to at least establish the ability to have equal time. So
absolutely fair. I just said everything I wanted to say. So.
Right, of course. But to Deflating Atheism, if you want to take 5 minutes, go for it. We can append that extra time to Jim. But whatever time you want to take, he's apparently fine with you taking some extra time, so that's good.
Okay, well, there's a very rich argument to be made for Christian theism, but I think the topic is too rich even to broach here. So much like Max, I'm going to take kind of a humanistic argument as to why this kind of movement, atheism, is bad, and I printed this out like 45 minutes ago. So, Atheist Republic. I mean, your audience is mostly young people, correct? So let's think about all the negative attributes that are commonly associated with teenagers. They're snotty, obnoxious, supercilious. They think they know it all, despite the fact that they know nothing. They think they know it all because of the fact they know nothing. And of course, they believe that everyone else who doesn't agree with them is stupid. Max and I have debated hundreds of atheists well into middle age who still evince these traits. I think it's partially because of atheist ideologues and propagandists such as yourself who profit off of abetting and encouraging their absolute worst tendencies. What you're doing is purveying a very cheaply bought sense of validation and community, cheaply bought in that all you have to do is recite these standard new atheist stock expressions about invisible sky fairies and Bronze Age goat herders, and maybe buy an ebook, and you're automatically inducted into an intellectual elite. The ultimate price, however, is much steeper. The self-esteem cult you preside over teaches young people that by virtue of their willingness to belittle and trivialize religious people, they have nothing to learn from religious people, whether they're classmates, teachers, religious leaders, philosophers, historians, or the 94% of Nobel laureates in physics who are professing Christians. You've taken God, the timeless, immaterial, necessarily existing first cause, the ground of all being and moral and aesthetic value, and reduced him to the stupid parody of the invisible sky fairy, so you and your followers can feel superior to the great mass of humanity. God has been the object of the noblest, loftiest thoughts of the greatest minds of civilization, yet you are in the business of twisting him into something trivial and small so that you and your followers may feel bigger and more important. I can understand why insecure teenagers would want to believe that they are such intellectual giants that the noblest thoughts of the millennia are fairy tales to them. I can understand why teenagers who feel powerless would get off on the power trip of believing they could effortlessly crush people's most cherished beliefs, like telling a little kid Santa Claus isn't real. I can understand why teenagers who are starved for a sense of purpose and community would be drawn to movements that reassure them that they are part of an elect intellectual vanguard. But as I said, these reassuring lies exact a dire cost in the long run. The cost is producing a generation of intellectually and spiritually stunted adults because they have turned a blind eye to the standard that is greater than themselves and to any reality that does not flatter them. The cost is producing a generation that is philosophically and culturally illiterate because once the God is reduced to the sky fairy, the entire corpus of Western thought is closed to you. So that's what I have to say.
You bet. We appreciate your guys' opening statement, and thanks, Jim, for your flexibility in letting Deflating Atheism have that 5 minutes. I could be wrong. I thought that I mentioned at the start that it would be 10 minutes.
You did, but it was before he showed up.
Oh, okay.
So
sorry.
What I got was that he used 3 minutes. So we can give Jim 12 to 13 minutes. I think I doubt that he'll use all of it, but.
That's fine.
That's what you've got.
He should have as much time as he wants. And
yeah, I want to make sure he's got time to address everything. So
yeah, great. I appreciate
equal time at least should be good.
Thanks for your flexibility, guys.
Hey, James, do you think you're able to play that video or?
Yes, we are going to give this a shot. I hope you can be patient with me as we try.
Okay. This is the video from the last debate. Is atheism a hate cult? It was just a very generalized debate in which all of this started, and it starts at 1 hour and 31 minutes on the dot, James.
And before we jump into that, James, as far as warnings, let's stick to giving 2-minute warnings and 30-second warnings.
Deal. And
Cool.
Wanted to say thanks so much, CT and Dirac Ra, for subbing. Encouraged to have you here. And next we will move into this video portion. Bear with me, guys. I'm hoping this works. So we're giving it a shot right now. Okay. Please let me know in the audience if you can hear this. Jim Majors, the Atheist Republic CEO, we got to have him on not too long ago. Terrific guy, we get along great. He's been really supportive of the channel. So thanks for your donation, Jim Majors. Totally appreciate your super chat. And he asks, the question is for the theist. Is chattel slavery a hate movement?
Of course.
Max?
Okay, I'm sorry. Did you say this question is from the guy who's the CEO of Atheist Republic?
He happens to be, but the question more importantly, I mean, I'm not trying to downplay that, don't get me wrong. I just don't want to have a discussion.
No, but along with Freedom from Atheism Foundation, his site is one of the sites I would name. But his question, ask it again to make sure I understood it.
His question.
Chattel slavery, a hate movement.
Chattel slavery, a hate movement. Well, atheist regimes are extremely good at doing chattel slavery, and so, I mean, a hate movement, I don't know, is that an ideological movement, or is that just an economic system that, by the way, secular regimes are very good at employing? I mean, I otherwise don't understand the question. Chattel slavery is wrong. Atheists are real good at chattel slavery when you join atheist organizations and running governments with atheism as your, anti-religiosity as what's part of your government. This is why I fear groups like Freedom from Atheism Foundation, Freedom from Religion Foundation. I would add my friends at Freedom from Atheism Foundation have been viciously attacked and threatened many times. But sure. I don't know. I guess I would have to say no on chattel slavery just because I don't think it's an ideological movement so much as an economic thing. But in any case, I would, again, one more time, atheist regimes are the #1 slaveholders in the world, sir. When are you going to address that and the other crimes of atheists on your Atheist Republic website? I'd also like this guy on again. Ask him if he was serious.
He was serious. Hold on, Max. I'm sorry. He actually just gave another super chat response to your response. So before getting to the new topic, if you want, I can read his response. He said,
"Sure."
He said, Max, we regularly. By the way, thanks, Jim, for your donation. And he said, Max, we regularly speak out against both religious atrocities and atrocities against the religious.
That's not fair. You lie. In fact, you cover for atrocities committed by members of your own website. You, sir, are a cultist and a hate monger and a professional liar. That's not name calling. That is actually, I will stand by that and will stand that up in court. Republic is no better than a KKK site. People on it are no better than KKK.
This is just empty assertion claims.
I'm
sorry, man. I just thought when you're opinion out of things, it's not an argument. It's just name calling.
It's not name calling. I have plenty of data back, called it up. Happy to come on any other time.
Yeah.
We really got to go. We've only supposed to go 40.
Okay.
All right.
We will now transition back.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I'm about to screen share, so do what you got to do, man. Okay, first I want to... What do I want to do first? Okay, that's all I want to do. First, okay, can you guys see this? This is the demographics. Can you guys see this?
That's gonna... we're not going to be able to see that on the video screen because of what it does to the formatting. But I can say that what you're looking at as...
Okay, well, I will just explain what I'm looking at. Okay, so there's a gross assertion that we...
Do you mind taking it off full screen just so that we can get the format back?
Take off of full screen?
Yeah, or take it off screen share just so that we can get back to the format. Okay, appreciate it.
But I mean, most of it's screen sharing. I don't. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, and we said this to Dean that when we're doing the screen sharing function, screws up the format of what
well,
James.
we should be able to. It should work if we go to full screen. But sorry about that, Ocean. Sorry about the miscommunication. It should work if everybody still has their Zoom window up.
Okay, let me.
All right.
Okay, we good?
It's up to James. We'll see.
I'm not exactly sure how we lost it. Like, for some reason it's not transitioning over. I'm not sure why. This is kind of a surprise to me. It worked before.
I'm working on a solution. Jim, if you want to take it off full screen real quick.
Yeah.
Also, the modern day debate screen has gone completely black, James.
Yeah, I'm baffled by this. I'm really sorry.
So, what I'm going to do is this.
Oh, I think.
I can pull up what. There we go. This might work.
We for some reason I'm not able to transition to the next scene. Let me try this.
This is what you were trying to show, right, Jim? You're muted, by the way.
Jim, I think you might have muted yourself. I'm trying to unmute you, but it's stuck.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys. Okay, so there's this gross assertion that we cater to teenagers and that we cater to minors and we recruit them and all this other disgusting claims. These are the demographics for our public page, which is our largest page. We have over 2.1 million followers. 1% are between the ages of 13 and 17. Less than 1%. 0.927 are men, 1%, I'm sorry, less than 2%. So 1% are men and 0.927 are women. The largest demographic are between the ages of 18 and 24. The next largest between the ages of 25 and 34, being 24 and 8, 32, so being 32%. So, and 44% being the largest percentage. So less than half of our group are between the ages of 18 and 24. Less than half of our group are younger than 24. That means the majority of our group is over the age of 24. So that is just a disgusting, baseless claim that I know where you pulled it from, but I don't want to say it because James will get mad at me. Let's see. So we're done with that. And I mean, if you look at it, this also really lines up with what you would expect to see in social media interaction, as far as the demographics go. Let's see. Can I? Well, I don't know if I can or not. Okay.
Did you have this to present?
Yes.
Well, shoot.
Let me don't worry, give me 1 second. I want to try doing another window.
James, I suggest making a full screen capture scene and just transition.
We could just do what I did. If I could just suggest, I mean, I'll trust your numbers, and you can send screenshots later if you want. I don't think you're going to lie to us, about your numbers. Just throwing it out there.
Oh, I mean, I already threw the numbers out there. Oh shoot.
Let's see. Give me one sec. I'm honestly baffled by this. Like, it's never happened before. I'm basically just, I'm trying to do another window capture where we bring in the live screen, or
just the Zoom screen.
That's right.
Yeah.
But when I press transition, it goes to a black screen. This is like not normal. I'm not sure why it does that.
Welp. Maybe that you have to re-input the application capture. Have you tried doing it through application capture? You're using OBS?
Correct. I'll try that.
Yeah. Do a new scene in application capture.
Somebody in the live chat has a really good suggestion. Just nuke it and start over.
Yeah, that's largely what's going on right now. If he can do a new scene in application capture, then he should be able to just pop up all of these screens.
I'm sorry, guys. I was actually trying to send a computer virus to Dean and Deflating Atheism, and it kind of got intercepted by.
I appreciate your sense of humor during this. I'm really sorry. I've honestly never had this. I'm trying to do an app capture, and
well, we're figuring that. Can I just respond to the point he already made? I know.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, well, I seriously stand corrected. I mean, I'm surprised that about that 1% are under the age of 17. That was not my impression through exhaustive, really, browsing through the group.
And if you go into any of our live videos, it's revealed to us that there is a minor in there who's discussing religious things. We really try to deviate them from that, and we tell them to talk to their parents, talk to their church leaders. That they need to be speaking to somebody else. They don't need to be trusting internet strangers to get their information.
Hey, can I ask it now?
Yeah, what's up, Dean?
Unless you got more to say, Deflating.
I do. What was that graph for membership or was it for interaction?
First for membership. That's
well,
our.
You might have a lot of legacy members, and you also have to factor in the fact that they might have aged out of that bracket in the 5 years you've had the group.
One thing is.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean that would assume that there have been no new additions to it, because in order for that number to fall, all the ones that had grown out of that demographic would have had to have stayed that same number and not grown at all, also, because they would have grown in parallel.
Let's pause real quick.
We are back to go live screen.
Yeah, Jim, if you want to try going full screen.
Okay, here we go.
We're not even live. Okay, I should just shut up.
We're going to destroy it again.
Let's see what happens.
Oh, okay.
I think this is going to work.
I think it's up. I'm not doing anything wrong, I don't think.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Are we good?
Yes. Thank you so much for your patience, guys.
Cool.
Yes. Okay. So Max Kolbe says that Atheist Republic is a hate group. Let's explore that. But before we
restart the timer real quick as well. Sorry, guys.
Ocean, you're an asshole.
I know it, right?
Okay, do me a favor.
Here we go.
Go ahead.
Okay. So before the debate, I'd like to publicly announce my reasoning for debating this topic. It's not because I feel like that I need to defend Atheist Republic, as my defense is not necessary in debunking the argument. The relief and resources that we provide to millions of people around the world speaks to the progressive and humanist nature of our organization. And I'm hoping that by temporarily sacrificing my sanity, that this will show everyone exactly who these people are and what they do. You will see that they are the embodiment of the hate that they speak against. They spread harmful propaganda against atheists using sensationalized fear tactics and outright lies. And after I respond to these wildly ignorant aspersions, I will be requesting an apology, and for them to cease their attempts in vilifying not only my organization, but the atheist movement over the actions of individuals. I've devoted my life to putting an end to this negative stigmatization of atheism, and I feel like these guys are in the way, so that's why I did this. So we've already seen the video. By the fruit of the Spirit is love. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. Galatians 5:23 through 5:22 through 23. I screwed that up, guys. And people like Red Pill Religion and Deflating Atheism cannot be recognized as Christians by their fruit. His first assertion, along with freedom from atheism, which I think he meant from religion, his site is one of the ones that I would name as violent. So let's see what the website says about that. In the second paragraph on our About Us, we say exactly what we advocate for and what we advocate against. We advocate against religious and dogmatic teachings that promote violence and oppression. However, we also believe that most people in the world, whether religious, atheist, agnostic, or just spiritual, are kind and peaceful by nature. We believe that by coming together, rational people can create a powerful force that cannot be ignored. And next, Max makes some wildly audacious claims. You can clearly see how unhinged he is in this debate and how desperate he is to discredit atheism in any way possible, and even if it means lying. And that's just what he is, a liar. A hate movement in response to the super chat. I don't know. Is it an ideological movement or is it an economic movement? Which, by the way, secular regimes are very good at employing. Atheist regimes are extremely good at chattel slavery. When you join atheist organizations and run in governments with atheism as your, and he corrects himself, anti-religiosity as part of your government. This is why I fear groups like Freedom from Religion Foundation. And then he finally addresses the original simple question: is chattel slavery a hate movement? Wait, Dean, wake up. Don't get tired yet. We just got started. I would have to say no. I don't think chattel slavery is an ideological movement so much as an economic thing. Oh, dang. Oh, how'd that get there? That's embarrassing. Hang on. It was probably one of my kids. It wasn't me. Okay, so an economic thing. In the 1st through the 4th century, the slave population was huge. The upper class was very much dependent on their slaves. Yes, the economy was mostly, was most certainly positively influenced by the perpetuation of slavery. The Greeks and the Romans flourished from the suffering of slaves. But Max doesn't believe it to be ideological. Instead, he thinks it's an economic thing. I wonder if he stops to think how the other 20 to 35% of the population saw it. Do you think they saw it as an economic thing, Max? I'm willing to bet that they had a very ideological perspective of slavery, both the Hebrew and non-Hebrew slaves. But we're not really here about the super chat, are we? Moving on. Atheist regimes are the #1 slaveholders in the world, sir. Well, I guess we are. Okay. Other slide. Max has already told us that atheists are extremely good at chattel slavery. And conflation aside, he's also told us that chattel slavery is not ideological. So are you claiming that atheism enslaves people for economic reasons? I'm really confused. Anyway, so I responded with another super chat. Max, we regularly speak out against both religious atrocities and atrocities against the religious. Which he responds, you do not, sir. You lie. In fact, you cover for atrocities committed by members of your own website. You, sir, are a cultist and a hate monger and a professional liar. Let's go back to the website. We advocate against religious and dogmatic teachings that promote violence and oppression. Okay, that doesn't get much clearer than that. We believe that most people in the world, whether religious, atheist, agnostic, or just spiritual, are kind and peaceful by nature, and that by coming together, we can create a powerful force that cannot be ignored. He goes on to say, that's not name calling. And this is right after James got really uncomfortable, which I thought was funny. That is actually, I will stand by that one. Stand that up in court. Atheist Republic is no better than a KKK site. The people on it are no better than Inaudible, because everybody was losing their mind over that ridiculous stuff. I wonder if Mac knows the implication of his words. How privileged he must be to so flippantly compare an organization like mine with the likes of the KKK. How absolutely just separated from reality do you have to be to conflate that? Skylar responds to Max and said, no, it's just empty assertions. You're just throwing your opinion out on things. Just throwing your opinion out on things is not an argument. It's just name calling and empty assertions. Max responds to Skylar, "It's not name calling, sir, and I have plenty of data to back all of it up. Happy to come on any other time. So, bring the data."
All right. Well, that was Jim's opening statement, or I should say, yeah, opening statement. So with that, we will now move into the discussion section. And so for that, I just want to mention, we think this will be civil. And if you can all be patient with me. First, thank you so much, you guys, for being patient when I had that tech issue. Oh my gosh, that honestly gives me a heart attack every time. Thank you. And second of all, if the debaters, we're going to try to do our best to moderate and to make sure that basically Jim gets equal time relative to the combined time of Deflating Atheism and Red Pill. So with that, we will open the discussion up.
Sure. Well, I would like to start off by pointing out that neither one of you had addressed how my organization is a hate cult, and the only assertions that you've already thrown out, I believe that I've debunked, and if I haven't, I would like to hear them again, and I'd be more than happy to clear things up.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead because Rob engaged your statistics. I've got some real problems with your statistics because how long has your Facebook group been there, if I could ask?
Why is that relevant? We're talking about.
All right.
It's been around as long as the organization.
So that'd be at least 2011. About 7 years. Okay, that's going to be relevant because we know with reasonable certainty that the new atheist movement and the internet atheist movement that started right around 2005, 2006, it's reasonable to say that was a millennial youth indoctrination program, and the four horsemen were professional hate mongers engaged in hate propaganda. We don't know how your audience is aged, and we don't know how many of your audience has apostatized out and left atheism, although we know it's very common for people to do that. We don't know the age of those links. What we do have, on the other hand, is the survey data I mentioned, which I'll be happy to send you, from Dr. Paul C. Vitz, the research psychologist, on the book Faith of the Fatherless, The Psychology of Atheism. One of the neat things about the organized atheist movement that you are part of is that we now have more statistics on what atheists are like than ever. And not all of the findings are positive, although we don't see them all published on your website or even debated much.
Well, because they obviously do not correlate. The statistics that you are spouting off do not correlate with my organization. And if they do, I would like you to show me how they correlate and where they correlate, instead of just saying they might correlate based on this.
Paul C. Vitz's number in his books Faith of the Fatherless, The Psychology of Atheism, which you can get from Ignatius Press, is a research psychologist using peer-reviewed data and direct surveys of membership of organizations like yours and some of the others mentioned, sir.
I'm sorry, I don't remember anybody consulting my organization for my statistics numbers. Can you tell me where he referenced my organization?
I don't know, sir. He referenced multiple atheist organizations. You can.
Okay. Well, the name of this.
And in any case,
the name of this debate is the Atheist Republic a hate group?
And we have no reason to believe Facebook statistics are are scientific at all, and so I dismiss them on first rounds.
Okay. So tell me, how do sociologists and data analysts analyze Facebook if the statistics that Facebook puts out is not dependable?
My direct surveys, sir. You can read the book and decide for yourself. Maybe Paul C. Vitz is not a real scientist and he's made up his numbers, but knowing what I do both about statistical analysis and having been doing online research for years, you can't assume that those demographic numbers from your Facebook page are accurate. Go ahead.
So it was an inference. It was a baseless assumption, correct?
No. I'm sorry, what? No,
it was an assumption. It was a complete assumption.
No, it's still a reasonable assumption. You're still all about recruiting people, and you still propagate hate propaganda every
day. Proof, evidence. I propagate hate propaganda.
I gave you one. Show you one? Okay, let's see. This came out of your forum. See, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Christian Dark. Oh, there it is. Now, this was a meme, of course. But you allow memes to stand and bullshit like this to stand. This is
Max, I need you.
It's not working.
Well, no, more so. Just if you can try to refrain from the profanity, guys.
Yes, like this. I remember this episode of Family Guy before I got so disgusted by the show. There it is. He's, another one talking about the dark ages of Christian oppression that, of course, never happened. And any responsible human rights advocacy organization would be able to condemn that and say, you know what, we're not going to spread lies like the Christian Dark Ages, which every major historian would tell you is a myth. And
I'm sorry, what kind of organization?
A human rights organization, which is what kind of I thought what Atheist Republic posed itself as. Don't you have a nonprofit with stuff in multiple countries?
We most definitely support human rights, and we are a big advocate of human rights, but we are first and foremost advocates for atheism.
Yeah, well, that's very obvious, because I see very little of you really acknowledging atheist oppression of religious people. And since you won't acknowledge that, you always wind up creating...
okay, that is a completely baseless claim. Do you know that I haven't?
Sir, I've seen your forums any number of times. You don't do it.
No, you have not. No, you most certainly have not.
And what do you do about the people, the hate mongers who talk about killing religious people? What do you do with them in your forums?
Well, I most certainly don't boot them out, because, I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to go and create their own communities and create their own echo chambers. So what I do is I keep them around and I educate them. And every week on Saturday when we go through the news, I address these vitriolic and hateful comments that are just poison for the community. And if you have watched a single of my videos, then you would know this, because I do it to every single fucking one of them.
I don't watch your videos, sir.
Sorry,
I don't watch your videos, sir. I don't see enough condemnation of this behavior in your online activity.
No, you don't see anything that I do, but you still feel confident enough to open your mouth and just defecate orally about shit that you have no idea of.
You're responsible for everything on your hate site, sir, and we've given
you
enough.
You are absolutely right. I absolutely am, and I take accountability for it.
I don't see it. And okay, will you do anything about it?
I just did.
Okay, you said you do. I want to see it in print more often. Denouncing the idea that there was ever a Christian
not good enough where you can actually see it and hear it coming out of my mouth? Is that not good enough for you?
No, I want to see it in print, and I want to see it more often, because because the hordes of roving internet atheists all over the internet are abusive with that garbage that you have to debunk. We have to debunk over and over and over again. I'll tell you on record.
That is garbage perpetuated by other people. It is not put out by us. We do not publish these papers. These are not our opinions. What we do is we facilitate conversations for people to bring their opinions and to discuss them. We do not have any dogmatic limits or dogmatic margins in which we have to operate in. We don't have a box. People can bring whatever ideas they want. We have Jesus mythicists in the group, and I think it's one of the stupidest fucking ideas ever, but I keep them in there because we cannot allow these people to segregate themselves. We cannot segregate these people just because we feel like it's hard to reach them.
Well, can I just say that I personally, my Deflating Atheism page, with which I used to comment on atheists, it has been banned. So you do ban accounts.
Well, of course we do.
Yeah, I got multiple.
Of course we do. We have group rules. Of course we do. If you violate the group rules, then you will receive a warning. And after your warning, if you continue to violate, you will be removed. And if it's been a continued problem, you will be banned. Absolutely.
Well, I can tell you, I did not call for anyone being called to be executed if they don't recant their belief.
Well, this is something that nobody has brought to my attention, and I would love for you to bring this to my attention. I will most certainly address this if there's an issue.
You know what? The fact of the matter is, you can get mad. I got reasons to be mad too. I know that when I started years ago as an atheist, I would still support atheist groups that were trying to defend atheists from oppression if I saw what I thought was real reasonable action of the atheist community to clean up propaganda in its ranks that it knows is not true, in its memes and in its forums. To at least tell people these things are simply not true. I would like to see more to look at people who are ranting about the religious and note that it's useful to have religious people in your life and be friendly with them, not nasty with them. And take responsibility for yourselves as a movement. Why have you done anything ever to condemn the Chinese government's massacre of Falun Gong or the Muslims that the Chinese
yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. On video. The fact
on video. I don't want to hear on video. I want to see it in your forums.
No. The fact that you come at me assuming that I would not be able to say that, but I am so freaking happy that I am able to say that yes, I most certainly did come out and speak out against it vehemently.
on your forums.
One thing, Max. One thing I got to do is, since you've used the screen share, I just want to return back to the discussion.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I want to see it in print more often. I want to see it coming up more often.
I don't give a damn what you want to see. What I want to see you actually seeking out the truth instead of making assumptions about my organization, which I am very proud of the work we do and that the education that we do and the things that we provide people. We provide resources. We do not segregate people because they have a misunderstanding.
Yeah, okay. At this point, until you clean up what I see in your forums, I'm unimpressed.
Like what? Like what?
How about a regular daily post on atheist atrocities committed against Christians? How about, or against any religion?
A daily
How
post?
about
Really?
taking ownership for the Sutherland shootings? You've got blood on your hands, sir. Your organization.
No, I most certainly do not. But I did actually. Hang on. I did speak out against it. I did condemn it, but I do not have blood on my hands.
I say the fact that he was an Atheist Republic member reading the hate propaganda that comes spewing out of your place daily, and the hateful shit that comes. Sorry for swearing. The hateful garbage that comes out of your members all the time. You don't police it well enough. I don't care what you say on video.
We most certainly. I have over 20 moderators working 24 hours a day all over the world on the site. They are answering messages. You can send a message to Atheist Republic at any time of the day and you will receive a message back. And I can guarantee you that if you post something vitriolic in those comment sections, it will be seen and it will be addressed.
Okay, we'll try sending you a few. We'll test you. I'm not impressed with anything on podcasts if the memes with the fake history aren't being cleaned out and people are being corrected on their fake history.
Yes, people are being corrected on their fake history, Dean, but of course you don't want to see that. You keep making assumptions that you don't know jack shit about. I do speak out against this.
How much time am I supposed to spend in your website, and how much time are members of my team supposed to
I don't care. As much time as it takes, but you shouldn't be making assumptions until you do. If you don't want to spend time on my website, fine, but don't make assumptions. If you want to make assumptions, then clear things up first. Get the facts instead of just going with what you think it might be. I mean, you sit here and all I hear is you talk about how you wish that there was an atheist organization, how you wish that there were atheists out there who weren't spreading misinformation and who were correcting people. And you've got one right in front of you in a debate and you won't even acknowledge that.
Well, because you sound like somebody who still won't take responsibility for the content. Won't even.
I just said that I did. And in response to the Sutherland shooting, I have taken responsibility for that. I have condemned that. I have said that I condemn it in every way. I'm comfortable saying in every video, because in every video that we do about the religious news, there's some sort of violence in at least one of the 10 stories. And I always condemn the violence, whether it is to the religious or from the religious.
Well, I'm gonna have to jump in here because condemning something in a video and condemning it on the Facebook page are two different things. Like I'm
not on the Facebook page. I'm the CEO. I do not represent myself on the Facebook page. The Facebook is a social media community that is moderated. We do not moderate what people post in there. We cannot stop the spread of misinformation. That much we know from social media. Nobody can. Your group can't. My group can't. I have 2.1 million people in my group. How many do you have in yours?
well played. No,
but
what
all the censorship we've had. Go ahead, bro.
What I was referring to were the statuses, not the comments underneath the statuses, like the status that Max just showed with the Family Guy thing. If you would acknowledge some sort of faults on the side of the atheists, rather than putting it on your channel, I'll ask you how many.
I don't think it's productive. I don't think it's productive. I think it's funny. I love Family Guy, and I particularly love that scene that it's referencing. But no, I mean, I think it's funny. I think that it is funny. I think it's satire. I believe that we should be able to poke fun at everything. I mean, just because that you're offended by it, I mean, that doesn't make it hateful.
Well, that's the common trap. Is like oh wow, we're just being edgy. Are you being offended? No, that's not the thing. Is that too?
Have you emailed Seth MacFarlane about this?
No.
Why not?
Not to be.
Why not? Why not? If you are so offended by this, then why haven't you taken it up with the creator?
Again,
Offended is really a trivializing word for hate propaganda.
Whatever word you want to use. If you think it's hate propaganda, why aren't you addressing the propaganda?
I would expect Seth MacFarlane not to even respond to a nobody like me. I only have a few hundred subscribers, so I'm a little nobody.
But you don't think maybe you're making a big deal out of a meme?
No, sir. Of meme after meme after meme and comment after comment after comment that we've seen.
Tell me how that meme is harmful. Let's just address that meme real quick. How's that meme harmful?
Because it's spreading a false and malicious lie about the past. That's a very common form of propaganda, and I will repeat
Which is
propaganda. That there was ever a Christian Dark Ages that held back science. It's a lie, and it's an easily debunked.
No, sir. That is a lie.
It's totally, completely a lie. And
no, are you trying to tell me that the church did not suppress people and suppress literature that went against their dogmatic practices or teachings?
Are you trying to tell me that
yes or no?
It has happened far less rarely than you guys like to admit.
But it has happened, right?
Sure, it's happened more often from secular atheist regimes by far, but it has happened. And you know what? The Christians were the ones who said we were wrong to do it. You want me to give you some references on things like Galileo? I can. It's hate.
Oh yeah, no, I don't need references on Galileo. See, what the fuck? See, this is what I'm talking about. You automatically assume that I'm one of these Galileo fucking atheists. No, yes, you do. Do you want this on Galileo? Assuming that I need it.
Both of you. I know that James wants to refrain as much from profanity as possible. So,
I think that you, as a responsible atheist organization, have a duty to correct propaganda about religion wherever it occurs, and to denounce it. And if you don't do it, you won't do it. And you get to be criticized. And if you're offended, too bad. I mean, I've mentioned this many times, sir. You guys were the ones who lionized Christopher Hitchens, who says, "I don't care if you're offended. That you're offended is not an argument." My opinion stands. Okay. I have data to back it up.
No, you don't. Show it. Where's the data?
I actually just for this purpose, I actually got some references referring to all the scientific advancement that actually happened during the Dark Ages.
I'm not refuting the claim that there was not advancement, but there was only advancement where advancement supported church ideology.
Okay.
Where like heliocentrism was very much suppressed by the church. Yes or no?
No.
Actually, the secular authorities were
No. The secular authorities were doing everything on their own, but the church came in later with inquisitors to take in because they thought that the people in the local communities were being too reckless. The people who were burning people for just every little thing were being reckless. So what do? They come in, they question people. They say, where did you get this belief? For instance, there was a woman who did not believe in transubstantiation. She did not believe that the sacraments turned into the literal blood and body of Jesus, like a sane person. She was turned in. The inquisitor came and questioned her and forced her to change her belief, to repent of it, and to profess.
That is unfortunate.
I'm not done. And to profess her new belief. And then she was forced to wear a cross for the rest of her life that would shame her on sight.
See, and this is
okay. That is unfortunate, but that is a doctrinal issue. Even if I grant that does not get you to the thing that the Christians.
It is not a doctrinal issue. It is a Nicene issue.
No, and let me just repeat. No, you just revealed that you are a hate propagandist. Maybe you don't know that you
I am
hate propaganda about the Inquisition. You are repeating hate proposition against the Inquisition, and you're doing it in more than one way. But
what did I say that was inaccurate?
The biggest thing omitting information is a form of lie, sir.
What did I omit, Max? Oh yeah, you're right. I omitted a lot.
First off, I don't think I believe your story, and I want to hear more about it because I know how the Inquisition actually worked. And I know what it was like. And I would also point out that as an atheist, you should immediately then point out how much more violent and how many more persecutions and interferences with science have been done by secularists and secularist organizations. You're going to find that it's much more often because atheist ideologies, secular ideologies, non-religious ideologies do all these same things. You've taken a one-sided historical narrative and you don't even allow a reasonable...
No. This isn't one-sided.
I will give you references on the Inquisition, Galileo, or anything else that I dare you to post on your forums, and I dare you to read and review these books. Then I'll think you're not full of it. Otherwise, I don't believe you, sir. As a formerly atheist,
you know what? You don't have to believe me, okay? But it was done, okay? The last burning of the first part of the Inquisition was in 1320 on order of Jacques Fournier. You know who he is, right?
I'm sorry, you are cherry picking data out of context.
You know who that is?
Conversation. I will not answer a dishonest, lopsided, one-sided question.
Jacques Fournier would go on to become Pope Benedict XII 14 years later. No. 14 years later, after the order to burn this man at the cross. His crime was claiming that his ex's baby was not his.
You know, historical grievance mongering and cherry picking examples like this out of context, which is what you do.
It's not out of context.
Which is very much what hate propagandists do. If you want to go,
explain to me how this is out of context, Max. Explain to me.
This conversation started with the non-historical claim. No historian of science will agree with you that the Christian Church caused the Dark Ages. Now you're talking about things that are completely irrelevant to that.
Yeah, I'll throw down on the Inquisition with you on a whole nother, I don't know, maybe. I'll give some book references on the Inquisition and common lies that get told about the Inquisition. And I will merely
I don't need
say nothing more on the Inquisition except
I don't need your literature. I don't need your literature. I am.
Guys, I'm going to cut in real
you've
quick.
Already said inaccurate.
Again, you are insinuating.
Guys, hey, everybody, hold on.
He will not look at literature that challenges things he said. Let it be noted.
No, I have no problem. I have no problem accepting literature.
All of you. 1 second, guys. So if you guys want to continue jumping into that, you can. But what I want to point out is that we've definitely gone off of the track from
we have.
Specifically on Atheist Republic. So if you guys, if anybody wants to bring that back to that, this is the opportunity to do that. If you want to continue going down this route, you can go for it.
Another claim of Max is that Atheist Republic propagates false science and false history. And that couldn't be further from the truth.
That Family Guy thing is false history. That's our point.
It's a meme. That's my point.
Yes, but the thing is, you could say it's just mockery, but it's mockery for a very propagandist purpose.
What purpose?
It's always a way that mocks and trivializes and demeans religious belief and religious belief.
Okay, so my whole reason for bringing up things like the Inquisition, I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole, was because it was evidence that the earth, that the early church did not, they didn't stop the progression of science, but they did suppress science. They did not support their worldview, and that is.
No, you haven't helped that claim at all. No.
Yes, because they very much suppressed heliocentrism.
Please
they banned books.
Atheist regimes do that too. Please prove your extraordinary claims, sir.
But we're talking about the church. Okay, you're saying atheist regimes. Atheist regimes are not atheism.
Okay. Listen, no, because you're rocking the same capital A logo as, and you're making a cause célèbre out of your atheism. Nobody would care about your atheism most of the time otherwise. The church was involved in these issues in large part, because it built the universities in the first place. You're welcome for them, along with the whole peer-reviewed system that the church built for us.
Yes, I'm very much aware of that. I'm very happy they did. I'm very happy that Mendel did his pea plant experiments inside of the monastery. I am very, very happy about that. I'm very happy about Lamarckism. I'm very happy that both Lamarckism and Mendelism both synchronized well with the theory of evolution as according to Darwin. And I am so glad that has developed into the modern science fields of microbiology. I am so happy that happened. But you cannot claim a theological influence on that.
I can claim a theological influence on every one of those, along with the Big Bang Theory and the germ theory.
Of course you can, because I just gave you the genetics one. I just gave you Lamarck and Mendel, and yes, I can give you the Big Bang as well. You're talking about the early. You're talking about the guy who proposed the expansion of the universe. Yes, thank you for that. That is great. That is awesome. And Hubble expounded upon that, correct? That is great. That is awesome. But what does that have to do with theology?
let me just say that the man who formulated the Big Bang Theory and came up with it in the first place was Father Georges Lemaitre, and the man who gave you the germ theory of medicine was Louis Pasteur, a rosary-praying Catholic. I'm glad that you are at least able to acknowledge some of these things.
I can acknowledge all of them, but I mean,
and you know, your inability to see.
I will, but I don't feel like I need to.
Well,
we're back to getting onto a tangent, guys. So what I want to do, Dean, if I want to just like ask you a question to get us back into the topic area, you're definitely you're making a lot of points about things that Atheist Republic is saying. How does that relate to Atheist Republic being a hate group? I think you can make points that are directly related to that, so that we continue the conversation and get back onto the topic of the debate.
Well, actually, the constant claims of the Christian Dark Ages are hate propaganda, and I'd be happy to do a whole presentation on that.
Okay, well, those are my personal views. Those are not views that.
Let's give them a second to try and establish how that relates. So,
because we see these claims time and time again not being debunked, and cherry picking issues out of history, out of context like that, like we just heard, is one of the problems. I don't know that we're going to be able to go much further on this.
Are you tired, Dean?
Well, I am tired.
I'm sure you
Max, though, please. I am quite tired.
I'm sure you are. You usually get tired when you get back into a corner.
Can I just join here? I think it is relevant to the topic because the myth that Christianity calls the Dark Ages or that religion is antithetical to science has historically been used as justification for the mass slaughters of Christians at the hands of atheist regimes, whether from the Reign of Terror to Callus's Mexico to the USSR to the
I'm sorry.
Korea. They've always used the justification that religion stands in the way of scientific and technological progress. So you are perpetuating that myth, even though historians will tell you that is purely 19th century thinking.
Okay, now here you go with your presumptions. That was a really great argument. It's too bad that I don't hold any of that. So it really sucks.
You don't hold any of what?
The bullshit that you just spewed. Yes, I agree that some atheists do propagate that. They do perpetuate it.
But
and neither does my organization.
You posted the Family Guy meme, so you're perpetuating. Okay. That's just one example.
I posted the Family Guy meme, so I have blood on my hands from Stalin, Pol Pot, and all this other shit, right?
Well, I mean, if someone posts something from a Hitler speech earnestly, I mean. Would you not condemn them? Even if
I most certainly would. I most certainly would. Absolutely. Is Family Guy on par with the Nazi Party? And if so, then why are they still on national television? You should write a very stern letter.
Well, because it's become very normalized. But what you're doing
it's become, yes, I agree. A lot of things have become normalized, and it's a shame, and they should be brought into light because a lot of people have misunderstandings about these very important historical events that have molded the way that our country has developed. So yes, I do agree. It is very important that we recognize our history and that we recognize it accurately. What's your point?
Well, my point is that if you claim that religion is standing in the way of scientific and technological progress, and that your aunt will have to die of cancer because these bad religious people are stopping science, you are trying to put a social animus on religious people.
When did I say that? Well, why are you putting words in my mouth?
I'm using exaggeration.
No, you are using examples that I did not say. You don't have an argument, therefore you are building straw man.
Okay.
What is the purpose of the Family Guy meme? Is it just
for humor? For humor.
Humor, but what is the point beyond it's perpetuating the non-historical lie that religion holds back science.
Right.
How is it different? How is it different from a pictures of black people in blackface or something like that, or anti-Jewish?
That's funny, and it's very offensive. It's very offensive, and it's very triggering.
By the way,
so we should celebrate that.
Oh, you know what? You know that Family Guy meme is probably going to be triggering to somebody in the actual future when they see that meme. They're like, "Well, this isn't what this looks like at all." You know, they're probably going to be really offended then.
How about though? I mean, we do some pretty funny atheist memes. I mean, do you guys ever laugh at yourselves?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I think
atheism is. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'm prepared to believe that it's different on your podcasts but I don't feel I'm obligated to listen to your podcast to be.
Of course you don't. Of course you don't because
I'm basing on your online material.
No, you do not care that whether or not.
How many of my podcasts have you listened to, sir? How many? How many? You generalize about me and what I do, but how many of my podcasts listen?
9 of them, and I especially enjoy listening to your philosophy bull, the little after show thing. I actually do enjoy listening to that.
Well, come on to that. You're welcome to come in sometime. And
But Dean, why are you making these baseless claims? Like you think you know me, man.
Please start calling me.
You don't know me. You don't know me, and you don't know what I propagate, and you don't know the visions that I have for my organization. You do not know what I stand for. You do not know what I am trying to do for my community, and you don't care to know.
Okay.
I want to make a closing statement, and then I'd like to leave, because he just accused me of backing out because I didn't find the cherry picking historical examples he gave to be fair, because they certainly weren't. And it's getting tiresome. I'm going to just mention again that I consider you a representative of Atheist Republic, not a representative of you. And I don't believe I am
a representative of Atheist Republic.
I'm going to keep repeating, I am not obligated to listen to any of your podcasts to judge the content of the stuff that I see in your forums and the toxic effects that it has and the nastiness that comes out of people who are members of your forums. It's what I see. I'll repeat again, I do have atheist friends. We have friendly atheists on there, but there is propaganda coming out of even your mouth. I will recommend a few more books, and then if you ever want to have a calmer discussion about this later, we can, because I do believe
I would like to have a calm conversation with you, as long as it doesn't start off with you telling me that the thing that I am so passionate about and put my love into is a hate group.
Okay, I can see why that would hurt. Well, it just has something to do, and it might trigger you.
No, it triggers you. It triggers you that I'm an atheist group. Right. Because had you met me in any other context outside of this, you would probably think that I was a good guy.
Well, we'll reserve judgment on that because we can't test it scientifically.
No, you can't reserve judgment on that because you've already proven to everybody who's watching that you cannot reserve your judgment, that you cannot help but just make these flippant claims.
I'm sorry, I don't believe I've made any flippant claims, just justified ones about the online content of the text and the memes on your website. And I'm going to stand by hateful, nasty, and disgusting is what too much of it is. Hateful, abusive, propagandistic, and bigoted is what too much of it is. So I will be
the largest slaveholders on earth, right? Atheist regimes are the largest slaveholders? That's what you said?
Yeah, we only have to look to China and a few other countries, sir, and we win.
Okay, you're saying atheism. Right.
Yeah. Ideological atheism of the type and identitarian atheism as typical of what is espoused at Atheist Republic. Hell yeah, you ought to speak out against it.
That is state atheism, Dean. State atheism is state atheism. That is it. Okay. What you were talking about are people using that for political gain, for power. Okay, this isn't for anything else.
Because the propaganda that you go ahead and allow to be spread about religion and religious people is used to beat up ordinary, everyday Christians.
I just told you I don't allow it. I told you repeatedly that I don't allow it, Dean.
I don't believe
it is addressed.
No, because people educate people with lies about history, like some you just told on this very stream.
Yes. What would you have me do, Dean? Would you have me not educate them? Would you have me not tell them the truth? Would you have me to let them continue propagating bullshit? Yes or no?
I would have you read and review Storming the Heavens, the Soviet League of the Militant Godless by Daniel Paris, and I would have you read and review or assign for the same to somebody to post on your website, The New Atheist Denial of History by Gordon W. Painter.
And I'll have you read
I would believe you're seeing something, and that you are willing to do something to correct your own misstatements. I otherwise don't see what else. I think we've really established here that this man will take no accountability. That he won't look at data that challenges his worldview, and he thinks Facebook statistics are a valid way to do statistical measurement.
Yeah, I bet that I knew that he was going to bring up my statistics, and I probably just kind of fudged them before.
Can't actually look at the scientific published ones. I recommend you read Paul Vitz's book too. I'm sure that he published my organization statistics. your fans are some of the most hateful and nasty people on earth. And it's
yes, they are. And so are yours, and so are everybody. So's Non Sequitur, so is James. Everybody has fans that are vitriolic and hateful, but we do not, and we should not, isolate them and segregate them. We should not.
Okay. Well,
we can go to the Q&A.
I don't think I have anything more to say.
This might be a good time to transition to Q&A.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that then.
Okay, so thank you guys. I know this seems extreme. It's definitely been the biggest so-called dumpster fire we've had. But I would like to remind you that even though it has been wild, they're not using their fists. Like, they're not, hurting each other. And so...
We totally would, though, if we could.
So,
okay.
Yourself.
So basically, would like to remind people that it has been heated, but I think that it's definitely progress in the sense that they're not physically harming each other. And hopefully this has been conducted fairly. I can't thank Ocean enough because it's been a handful. But now we will go into the questions, and thank you guys very much for sharing everything you have. And Brian Stevens, want to say thanks for your super chat. We're going to read off the super chats first just to make sure we get them. We appreciate your guys' support of the channel. It means a lot as we are looking for software upgrades. As obviously you can tell, our software is back to a rudimentary state, and so thanks for your patience on that. Brian Stevens says, Faith of the Fatherless was written in the year 2000. This doesn't apply, Dean. How are you trying to argue how the internet was impacted with a book written in the year 2000? And so, Dean, we'll give you a chance to respond to that. That's what we usually do.
I think he got tired.
Dean, are
you there, man?
No, I'm right here. I'd have to open my copy and see if it's still from 2000. I have no answer. I can't find my I can't seem to get it open right now. It might be from 2000. The statistics would be valid from then, and Facebook statistics would not be valid for anything at all scientifically. So I'll stand by numbers until somebody gives us stuff that's based on actual surveys done by reputable scientists, not Facebook statistics of dubious merit.
Gotcha. We next.
Although I will concede, it's possible Atheist Republic has a slightly larger female demographic. I can't even concede from the numbers that they skew all that older, though, because again, they've been there for 7 years. We have no good way of measuring their numbers.
You're right. They have been there for 7 years, and they've been recording the demographic information the entire time. Okay. So this is the original information. Okay, Dean, it has evolved along with the rest of the demographics. Okay, it's not just that is stalled out.
Okay, you've given your answer. I've given mine.
Now we will go to Godless Recovery. Thank you so much for your super chat. He says, let's see. This is I'm going to kind of defer to the people in the chat. Sometimes it's going to kind of go in either direction potentially, where we get a super chat that is, well, I'll read it, and that way you guys will kind of know what I mean by this, and we'll kind of let the audience decide like what kind of super chats.
You need me to read it, James?
No, I've got it. Doesn't have any swear words. Okay, so basically, he says, Godless Recovery says, thank you as always, Max, for being the very beacon of intolerance, hate, hyperbole, and dishonesty you proclaim to revile. Love the fantastic hypocrisy. I guess my question is, like, super chats directed more at people. Still read them anyway. Like we usually.
I'll answer him. Because I'll tell you, when we started when I started 4 years ago, I started a really nice blog called God and Man in the 21st Century, and I spent a couple of years trying to reason with the atheist community, only to be bullied, mocked, abused, and I met many other Christians who had gone through this and published a number of videos on it, wrote complaining about it, only to get mocked and abused some more, and to watch other people I knew get mocked and abused. So we, as a team, a group of us, my name is Max, by the way, and that's what I prefer. As a group of us of multiple religions, including pagans and deists, said we're going to go ahead and be provocative and use the same kind of satire, savage juvenalian satire and open mocking and all of that came out of the new atheists and that comes out of on Twitter and other social media with garbage. When they hit us with garbage about the BS, non-existent Christian Dark Ages, when they talk to us about how Christians or other religions have oppressed science, and we point out all the times when secular ideologies have done the same, and they've done it more often. I'm sorry, hypocrisy from fans of Christopher Hitchens, Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, any of the original New Atheists, or many of the other atheists out there like Dark Matter, the horrible, nasty people at Non Sequitur Show, the bigots over there. You people have no right to call anybody else hateful. The hypocrisy is yours. You guys have been hateful and nasty and dishonest about science and history for more than 10, 15 years, and you show over and over again that you will not coexist with the religious. You will just hate on us. That's
Max. You just got finished admitting that you and this group of your friends left atheism and continued on the very thing that you were against vindictively. So you were fighting hot garbage with hot garbage. I mean. Yes. That is all the evidence that I need to know that you are not sincere about wanting to be productive for humanity. You do not want to see any good come out of humanity. You just want to attack somebody. You have no desire to see progression, do you?
Can I say what Max is not doing?
Those are nice, but we still have regular friendly atheist talks with atheists, and I still
yes you do, but it doesn't change the fact that you still have this worldview that is very skewed, and it is very biased to the point to where you make character assumptions about somebody before you even meet them.
Okay.
Yes, it's right. Absolutely right.
Those are interesting. Those are interesting assertions, sir. But I will merely note again: only a hypocrite whines like a little cry bully when we use the kind of rhetoric back that is routine and dismissed as simply humor from your religious movement.
Was that why you
super chats?
Hey guys, let's move on to the next super chat, shall we?
Okay, thank you guys for your patience. It's been a wild one. Let's see, and the next one comes from Zero 0132. So thanks for being here, Zero, and thanks for your super chat. Totally appreciate it. And they asked, can Max point to the content on Atheist Republic that called for murdering churchgoers?
I will just give one example of a recent comment that I mentioned earlier of the guy who said he would love to eradicate religion. That kind of sentiment is popular. And while, of course, and the question, by the way, reveals a very typical ideological atheist dodge, where you seem to think that if you didn't specifically call for the killing, you have no blood on your hands. Well, I'm sorry, when you have this much hate rhetoric and this much easily debunked false propaganda history flying around daily on your website, we've given some examples, we can give more, but you won't look at them. I'm sorry. You have blood on your hands from Sutherland, sir.
I don't need to look at him, Dean, because I am already well aware of how much misinformation there is in my community. Well, hang on. I am already aware, Dean, and I have made you aware that I am aware. So you can stop with these baseless assumptions now, okay? Now, if you want to ask if I'm addressing something, ask if I'm addressing something, but stop with the assumption that I am not addressing these things.
Have we got an easy contact? Maybe we can just chill this out and we can understand each other.
Yes, maybe we can. Please stop making assumptions about me.
Okay, I'll do my best.
And well, I think we also need to draw a distinction between what you disavow on your podcast versus Atheist Republic.
Sure. Ask me.
Let me finish. Okay. Let me finish. Atheist Republic has 2 million follows on Facebook. How many subscribers does your podcast have?
Under 7,000. I want to say it's 6,000.
Okay, so you have 7,000 subscribers on your podcast, and there are 2 million followers to Atheist Republic. But yes, you let Atheist Republic put out this mocking propaganda and this pseudo history, but you publicly disavow it on your podcast, which has a small fraction of the follow.
Oh no, not at all, because we share it on all platforms. So we reach actually more than 2 million people. So we reach we reach whatever subscribers we have on YouTube and our podcast, and then we also share that out to our different platforms. So then it is exposed again to our other audiences. So our views are actually a lot larger in comparison and ratio than our actual subscribers, because we do ensure that our entire community sees these things.
Okay. I have to wonder because when you post a YouTube video or something,
you don't have to wonder if you would just
fraction of
research. If you would just research these things. I'm sorry. What is your name? I haven't even gotten your first name.
Yes.
Do I call you Deflate or D?
DA.
Well, I'm not going to call you DA because I might slip and say something else.
Trust me, I've gotten worse.
No, but I mean, seriously, guys. Like, I mean, if you are sincere about wanting to reach people, I mean, join up with somebody. I mean, maybe not me, but somebody like me, somebody who is sincere in their desire to spread, positive information. Like, I mean, okay, so take for instance Richard Carrier. Richard Carrier is a nice enough guy. He's very charismatic, but he is a lying asshole. Okay, he is a lying, propaganda spreading, counterproductive filth.
Thank you for saying so.
And he thinks, and people like him think that it is justifiable to spread misinformation if it gains them more atheists, and that is wrong, and that is something that I have always stood against. It's something that I will always stand against. That is not how I came to atheism, and that is not how I believe that anybody else should come to atheism.
I know that Atheist Republic has posted mythicist memes, though.
Yes, of course we have. Of course we have. Yes, they are memes. We use them for education purposes. Like, if you would, look in the comments. Have you looked in the comments?
How many people read those comments?
Well, I don't know. I can think of one of mine that has like over 2,000 likes on it. So I mean,
you're knowingly posting disinformation and saying you're doing it for educational purposes.
Okay,
when do you ever post Christian content then? If you just want to expose people to different ideas.
Sure, I do actually. Actually, I talk a lot about the Bible. Actually, talk a lot in depth about Bible study and what the Bible actually says, and that.
That's your podcast.
No, I'm not talking about the podcast. I'm talking about Atheist Republic and talk about how that some seeming contradictions or some purported contradictions aren't really contradictions, and these are just really bad ideas that have just floated around the atheist community, mostly because of new atheism. And that is something that I want to clear up. I want people to believe what they believe for honest reasons.
Hey, can I interrupt with something and a positive suggestion, and then a repetition that yes, maybe I'm getting beat up, but I really am getting tired, and I am an old man. I just got my copy of Faith of the Fatherless by Paul C. Vitz. It's copyright 2013. It's not that out of date. In any case, I would like just a friendly suggestion. We finish the super chats, and we'll see where we.
I'm good with that.
You got it. Let's see. So Josh Brister says some of these are like more abstract, so not necessarily directed. So he says we Christians will no longer be intimidated. Jim, if you want to respond to that, you can.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that again? I'm sorry.
He said
we Christians will no longer be intimidated.
Okay. I don't try to intimidate Christians. I don't intimidate Christians. If I intimidate Christians, it is because that I know their own doctrine better than they do. That's the only way.
Again, I'll just jump in here, and that my Deflating Atheism Facebook group had a horrible brigading from Atheist Republic members about 2 weeks ago. And if you look back on the history of YouTube, atheists basically dominated YouTube in the aughts through harassment, through false flagging, through doxing, through all these nasty tactics is basically how they owned YouTube in the 2000s. So yeah, I mean,
all of those tactics are very dishonest, and I do not like that. I believe that if you cannot spread your argument or you cannot defend your argument with integrity, then you need to reassess why you believe what you believe. Because I don't think that spreading misinformation does anybody justice, even if it gets the other person to be convinced. It serves no purpose.
Gotcha. Well, so we there's some agreement here tonight. We have Kent Hoven's certified public accountant. Doubt it's the real one. Thank you for your super chat, both Josh Brister and Kent Hoven CPA. Kent Hoven CPA says Christians will always be indoctrinated. So I guess we'll give Deflating Atheism.
Indoctrination means to teach, sir. And by the way, when you are going to Atheist Republic, you are being indoctrinated. If you are learning things from them, you are being indoctrinated by them, and you are coming over to their point of view. In fact, and, becoming an atheist, you are converting to their religious point of view, and you're welcome to, but you are being taught.
Well, I have to disagree with that. I agree with you at first. Yes, indoctrination doesn't has negative connotations. Indoctrination just means what you absorb through your surroundings. So if you were to go to like redpillreligion.com and go to their resources, you would be indoctrinated by their content. If you go to Freedom from Atheism Foundation and go to their resources, you'd be indoctrinated by their content. If you go to atheistrepublic.com and go to my resources, you would be indoctrinated by my content. And I encourage every listener out there to go to these 3 individual places, check out these 3 individual resources, and you decide which of their resources are more harmful in their indoctrination, because it's inarguable that all of them are indoctrinations, but which ones are more harmful? That's the question.
Gotcha. And sorry with that, I was more looking at the super chat from an interesting name. So Klaus Schumeyer, thanks for your super chat. And okay, Dean, we'll give you a chance to respond. To be fair, he asked, was Dean dropped on his head at birth?
Actually, I was very severely abused as a child. And I could get even more to that because young men who come from broken homes and receive, get abuse like I did are more likely to grow up atheists like I did. Mostly we grow out of it, though.
Sorry to hear that, Dean, man. Nobody deserves that.
Well, thank you. I've done a lot of advocacy work in that, and I think more should be done. So
that's good. I have as well. I'm a full-time parent. I've had full custody of my daughter since she was a baby.
That is so awesome.
Something like that.
That is awesome. I'm glad you got that. Well, I mean, I'm not glad that.
Well,
but I'm glad.
Right. Yeah. I got you. Thank you.
Gotcha. Let's see. These are mildly offensive. Let's see.
I think
James, you can just make a policy of skipping the ones that are going to be offensive or get you in trouble. And just
I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? There's
so we will. That these are like especially pointed. I will, if you want your, I'll Venmo you the $4 if you'd like. Science is gay. I hope he means happy. I can Venmo you the money back. So with that, we want to say thank you to everybody for coming along. I know that basically it sounds like everybody's pretty pooped, and we had planned on an hour and a half. It's already gone well over that, and it's also been a rocky trail. So everybody's pretty tired, and we were okay with letting it go. I hate to do that. Forgive me for anybody who had other questions, but given the circumstances, I think that might be best. And as mentioned, everybody's links are in the description. Even if you hate them so bad that you are seething, foaming and frothing at the mouth, well, you can at least get their version of the story by clicking straight on their link in the description box. So I want to say thank you to the debaters. We cannot thank the debaters enough. They're why this channel is hopefully enjoyable for everybody. And I also can't thank Ocean enough because between everything tonight, it was crazy. So thank you very much, Ocean, for helping. But the debaters, appreciate you coming on. Deflating Atheism. Jim Majors, the CEO of Atheist Republic, and biggest atheist organization on the planet as far as I know. And also Red Pill Religion, of course. We appreciate you coming. And did you see there at the end? It was like they were, kind of getting along. Who knows?
A debate is a heated debate. This guy actually really wants to have a conversation. I appreciate it. I'm going to send you the links to the things I referenced, and you can post them in the chat or whatever. I'm going to go. Have a good one. God bless all you heathen bastards. That was a joke. Seriously, good night.
I definitely own the term heathen bastard, so.
So we thank you for that. Thanks for subscribing, Wobble. Glad to have you part of the community. And we are trying to foster, hopefully, a welcoming community where we just have, the only videos we have is where both sides are represented. And so that's just a different style that we're going with. And so we want to say, hopefully everybody feels welcome here. Hopefully you feel represented. If you're like, hey man, I'm a Scientologist, you haven't had one of us on yet, let us know. We'll have you on. And anybody else out there, we want to have you on. And the debaters, any parting words? Thanks for coming here tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was great. Thanks for facilitating it.
My pleasure. So I hope everybody has a good night. Ocean, any parting words?
Yeah, just thanks for having me on this time, man. It was fun.
Oh yeah, thank you so much, Ocean, for moderating. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, man.
My pleasure. So, and then as mentioned, there's an after show over at the Non Sequitur show. And then, as Dean mentioned, Red Pill Religion will also be having their after show. One quick question on behalf of, as I call him, Big Sexy Steve McRae. He wanted to know if Deflating Atheism would be willing to come on the Non Sequitur show.
I have my problems with Steve McRae, so I will decline that offer. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. I tried, Steve. All right, but basically, we love to have you guys here, and so thanks for your subscriptions. The Psycho one, appreciate you being a part of the community, and so everybody have a good night, and remember, we can disagree and get along. So I want you to take care. Have a good night.